Dear traders, I continue now with the next method, and it pretty much depends on what type of trader you are. Are you following the trends, or you prefer to trade in the range and to buy when the price is cheap and to sell when the price is expensive? Okay, so EA Studio generates both type of strategies, and I will show you in this lecture how you can recognize them, and I will give you some examples. So for the beginner traders, let me open the team viewer, and I will just use the chart to show you what is trend following strategies and what is the opposite thing when we have range trading, as I call it. Okay, when we want to buy at a cheaper price and sell when the price gets expensive. Okay, so the trend following strategies are the type of strategies when we buy together with the direction of the trend. Okay, let me just go quickly through some of the strategies, and I think here we had a few trades that show that this euro dollar strategy on H1 chart is a trend following strategy. Alright, so you see that the last month, November 2020, euro dollar has been very bullish. The trend is going upwards. Okay, for the beginners, what is the trend? This is when we have series of higher highs and higher lows. This is how the uptrend is defined. Okay, so the trend goes up. What we have from this strategy are long trades. Okay, so it follows the trend. And if I switch to the other euro dollar strategy on M15, you can see that this period, especially the last week or the last 2 weeks, have been bad for this strategy because it's a range strategy. You see that I had 2 short trades that ended on losses. All right, so in this case the strategy sells when the price is expensive, but this is just for that period of time. Okay, and then it will buy when the price is cheap, but this is based on the indicators that stand behind the expert advisor. Okay, so if you see that period of time right here, this value is expensive, right? So the strategy sells. However, the price continues upwards. And this type of strategy is very appropriate when the market is in a range, just like that period over here. So this type of strategies will try to buy when the price is cheap, and they will try to sell when the price is expensive. Just when the price goes in a range, they work much better than the trend following strategies where I have a similar strategy on H1. Okay, so let me show you how you can recognize these strategies on EA Studio in the collection. If I click on the first strategy, let's see what we have here. Stochastic line crosses the signal line downward, and this is for long entry or for a buy signal. One more time, stochastic line crosses the signal line downwards, and the next condition is the fast moving average is lower than the slow moving average. What that means? That is a range strategy, right? It doesn't follow the trend because it wants to buy when the stochastic line crosses the signal line downwards, or in other words, when the price goes down, and as well the moving average is lower than the slow moving average. Okay, 2 of them will identify when the price is going down. Let me click on the indicator chart and I will show you what we have. So if I just look for the first trade, let me find the first long trade so it will be easier for you to understand it. Okay, here it is. The stochastic line crosses the signal line downwards, and at that time the fast moving average is below the slow moving average. Alright, so you see what happened, and there was a huge drop of the price which forced the fast moving average to go below the slow moving average. And then what happened, stochastic shows that the market was overbought. The stochastic goes below the signal line, right? Which usually is a sell signal, but in this case it is a buy signal, and we buy, and you can see that the price hit the take profit a little bit later. Okay, let me look for some other examples. For example, here is a short trade. The fast moving average is already above the slow moving average, which means that we had an up move. Okay, and then when the stochastic line crosses the signal line upward, we have the confirmation and we sell. All right, so you see the price goes up, we sell, and it goes down. These are the type of range strategies. Now let me look for a strategy that follows the trend. The bar opens below lower band after opening above it. And no, that's not the type of strategy I want to show you. Yep, here it is. The directional indicators. The I positive line crosses the I line upwards. Let me click on the chart. So this is how the directional indicators look like. And we have the buy signal when the positive DI, or this is the moment right here, when the green line crosses the red line upward. When it crosses upwards, we buy. Here it is, the take profit was hit. And I think just here we have another example. Yep, a long trade. Here is a short trade. The negative one crosses the positive one upwards, so we have a short trade. Okay, so you see, we are following the direction. The price goes down, we sell. Price starts to go up, we buy. So these are the trend following strategies, and they work obviously great when the price is in a trend. But usually the statistics show that about 70% of the time the price stays in a range, and only about 30% of the time the price trends. So what I personally prefer to do is to have the two of them together, combined. I would like to have a strategy that follows the trend, and I want to have a strategy that works better when the price is in a range. That is why right here I showed you two different strategies, one on M15 and one on H1. One more time, it's up to you. If you are a trend follower and you want to trade only with the trend, absolutely understandable. Many of the traders do it. At the same time, there are many swing traders and people who prefer to trade channels, and they want to buy when the price is cheap and they want to sell when the price is expensive. So then you might want to look for the strategies when the indicators cross opposite. All right, so one more time, let me click on any of the strategies, and I hope now you recognize it. Okay, RVI line crosses the signal line upwards and volume changes its direction upward. And this is for long when we want to buy. When we see upward, it means that this is a trend following strategy, okay? Because it will buy when the event or the cross of the indicators is in the same direction as the direction we want to go. And if I click on it, you will see that there are different entry rules, but on EA Studio first we see the long entry, and then if I go to short we will see the opposite thing, but by default it stays to long. So when you open a strategy and you see what are the rules, you will understand, is this a trend following strategy or it's not. And what will give you the tip that this is a trend following strategy, when you see the words upward or the line is higher than the signal line, for example. Okay, if something is higher than the other thing or it crosses upward, then we are going up in the same direction. If you see the opposite with the long entry, going down is below, downwards, then this means that the strategy will buy when the price gets cheaper and it will sell when the price gets more expensive. Or in other words, it's a range strategy. I hope I have explained that clearly. It's really not easy to understand it, I guess, if you are a beginner, But if you have hard times with it, let me know. Ask me a question, no problem. I'm always there to answer you, or just watch the video one more time and I'm sure you will understand that, even if you play a little bit more with EA Studio. I hope I have succeeded to explain it clearly, what's the difference between trend following strategies and rate strategies. And of course, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. But if you play a little bit with EA Studio, I'm pretty sure that you will learn to recognize the strategies and select the type of strategies you want to trade with. Thanks for watching. If you have found that video useful, thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you missed to do it. Have a wonderful day. Bye.